The world had watched in horror as Nazi Germany, under Adolf Hitler's iron fist, unleashed a storm of destruction and brutality. World War II, ignited by Germany's insatiable hunger for power, had plunged nations into darkness. Millions perished under the Nazi regime's reign of terror. The horrors of the Holocaust, a systematic campaign to exterminate Jews, cast a long shadow across Europe. The Nazi ideology, built on hate and racial supremacy, had poisoned the hearts of many. Their propaganda machine churned out lies, fueling fear and prejudice. Germany, once a beacon of culture and enlightenment, had become a symbol of oppression and genocide. The world yearned for an end to the bloodshed, for a glimmer of hope in the face of unimaginable suffering. The tide began to turn as the Allied forces, led by the United States, Great Britain and the Soviet Union, pushed back against the Nazi war machine. Battles raged across Europe, leaving scars on the land and in the hearts of men. But the relentless advance of the Allies signaled that Germany's grip on power was weakening. The days of Nazi tyranny were numbered. On May 7, 1945, in a small schoolhouse in Reims, France, history took a decisive turn. Germany, facing inevitable defeat, agreed to unconditional surrender to the Allied forces. General Alfred Jodl, representing the German High Command, signed the surrender document, marking the end of World War II in Europe. The news of Germany's surrender sent shockwaves of relief and jubilation across the globe. In London, crowds thronged Trafalgar Square, waving flags and embracing strangers. In New York City, Times Square erupted in a cacophony of celebration. After years of sacrifice and uncertainty, the nightmare of war was finally over. The significance of May 7, 1945 cannot be overstated. It marked not only the defeat of Nazi Germany, but also the triumph of freedom over tyranny, of hope over despair. The world had witnessed the depths of human depravity, but it had also witnessed the courage and resilience of those who fought for a better future. As the echoes of victory reverberated around the world, a new and equally important chapter began: the liberation of Nazi concentration camps. The full horror of the Holocaust, long hidden behind barbed wire and guarded by SS brutality, was finally revealed to the world. Allied soldiers, hardened by years of combat, were stunned by the scenes that greeted them at camps like Auschwitz and Buchenwald. Emaciated survivors, bearing the physical and emotional scars of unimaginable cruelty, emerged from the shadows. The world bore witness to the depths of human depravity, but also to the indomitable spirit of those who had endured the horrors of the camps. The liberation of the camps marked the beginning of a long and painful journey for the survivors. They faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives, haunted by the ghosts of the past. The world grappled with the enormity of the Holocaust, vowing to never forget the victims and to fight against all forms of intolerance and hatred. May 7, 1945 remains a pivotal date in human history, a day that reminds us of the fragility of peace and the ever-present dangers of hatred and intolerance. It is a day to honor the sacrifices of those who fought for freedom and to remember the millions who perished under Nazi tyranny. The lessons of World War II continue to resonate today. The fight against anti-Semitism, racism, and all forms of discrimination remains as urgent as ever. We must remain vigilant in defending the values of tolerance, respect, and human dignity. The legacy of May 7, 1945 calls upon us to create a world where such atrocities are never repeated. As we reflect on the events of May 7, 1945, let us remember that the pursuit of peace and justice is an ongoing endeavor. We must never forget the lessons of the past, for in remembrance lies the hope for a brighter future. May we strive to create a world where all people are free to live in dignity and peace.